What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Well, turns out we found Steve Rocket Crypto, or at least we think we found Steve Rocket Crypto. So my name is Mike. Welcome back to the 2-Bit Crypto channel. Make sure you watch this video to the end because this is a good one. We are talking about Steve Rocket Crypto and all the news that's gone on with it. Make sure you're subscribed as well for daily cryptocurrency content. So let's jump straight into it. So Steve Rocket Crypto was nowhere to be seen. He'd vanished, and he's turned up on Rodney's channel, My Crypto Journey, where Rodney's kind of reached out and spoke to Steve, and Steve's kind of given some information around some potential flaws with Saitama, the fact that he's disassociated himself with it, and it kind of goes on to talk about a lot of things that I guess he believes aren't right with the project and that aren't kind of going the way they should be, and that's why he's kind of left. I'm not going to get too much into that part of it. If you want to go and watch that, go and have a look on Rodney's channel. But we did then see this come out from the Saitama community, the Saitama devs. It just says of recent conversations and questions regarding one of our core developers, which I do think is interesting given obviously the chat on Rodney's channel. As many of you know, Steve Rocket Crypto first became involved in Saitama in July 21. He was brought onto the board of 7 to help us educate our community through his YouTube channel. It's been several weeks since Steve's last contribution to the project and community, and he's made it clear he no longer wishes to contribute to that project. Therefore, we have begun the process of removing him from our board, and we wish him well in his future projects. And it's obviously from all the team. So they're taking him off the board. He's clearly not wanting to be associated with Saitama anymore. And he's obviously going to go and do some other things. Now, here is where it all kind of gets a little bit interesting, in fairness. And there's a few other bits I wanted to bring you and talk to you about in this. I guess, look, my view is, you know, Steve's gone. He was a YouTuber, and look, I can speak for experience. Tons of projects reach out every day. Tons of projects want to kind of use the platform that YouTube supports to boost their token. That's just the reality of it. And, you know, I guess the bigger the token, the bigger the risk, and potentially the higher the financial reward. I'm not saying Steve was paid off, but he certainly, I'm sure, made some good money from Saitama. And I believe he was in SHIB early as well. So, look, Steve's gone to do his own thing. I don't think this is the end of this story. I definitely think we're going to see more over the coming weeks as this kind of starts to evolve. Now, we all know there is a current war going on between kind of Saitama supporters and the people really bullish and super passionate about the project, and these kind of other people that kind of want to expose it. And it does feel like it's a very, you know, good and bad kind of argument. So there's a couple of things come out which I thought was really, really interesting that I wanted to bring you. So we saw this, and this is kind of circulating Twitter right now, but intellectual property rights means all patents, trademarks, copyrights, system designs, and other intellectual property rights, whether registered or not, such aforementioned intellectual property belongs to the company. Saitama LLC is the owner of all known how and related technical knowledge of Saitamask and its present and future platforms, and all documented research, development, software, blueprints, formulas, designs, records, patents, technical data demonstrations, or engineering work. And then there's another tweet that around, upon completion, the launch of Saitamask, it will belong and be owned by Saitama LLC and not by any sole member. If any member elects to remove himself from the development team voluntarily, such member forfeits all rights and ownership of the aforementioned. So I thought that was really interesting. I can't verify this information. I can't find where it's gone. I've reached out to a couple of people, but I can't source where that information comes from. And it also says here, don't ask me where I get it from. So I'm not questioning its legitimacy, but I do think anything like this, we do just need to be really clear where it comes from. Now, again, the Certic audit people have talked about in terms of Saitamask, and you can see that it's audited part of the source code around the ERC20, around the factory, around the pairing, and they're going to obviously audit the kind of code and what it looks like. So I would like to think, and again, I'm not a super expert, drop in the comments if you know more than me about this, but I would say that certainly if there are flaws in the code or issues in it that's been declared by Steve Rocket Crypto in that Certic would have picked some of it up. Now, whether they have and it's been fixed, I don't know, but certainly it looks like all the kind of codes, the migrator, transfer helper, Oracle library, liquidity, math library, Babylonian, the pairing, factory, ERC20 has all been audited on this checksum under the SHA-256 algorithm. So clearly there's more to this audit perspective than what we see. Now, here's where I think it is kind of interesting in some respects. So we know Max Equation, the lead dev on the Saitamask, and I guess the kind of lead dev in the Saitama board, he does talk a lot about the company he owns. So he has a separate company entirely to Saitama and is, I guess, invested or it's been sourced out. And I don't think it's uncommon to source out projects like this to another company, which I think is where it gets really interesting, where they talk about rights of it. Because if Max is doing it under his company name, then it will clearly be sourced contractually to them, but obviously the Saitama LLC will own it. So Max, we can see here, is the founder at Universum Solutions. When we go and check them out, they are kind of retail software developers. And again, I can't 100% verify that this is the exact company that Max owns or works for, but it certainly looks very similar to what we've seen in this tweet. So Universum, and we can see that screen there, and this was tweeted by Max very, very long time ago, but we can see that versus what we can see here. So I am going to say it's pretty probable that this is the correct company. So I think in terms of what we're seeing from a kind of ownership perspective, then I do believe there would be contractual rights to it, and I do believe that it would be placed upon a contract if a separate company is working on the app. So I do think it's interesting. If we take a look at the price of Saitama, we just click in. It has had a bit of a rough ride recently, but down in the 2209 range, has been down another 20% on today, and I think it's going to continue to bounce up and down, I think, as people and news starts to circulate. But you can see 8.3 million daily volume, which is down, $1.17 billion market cap, 320,000 holders is good, but that market cap is really struggling. But I think it is going to be really volatile right now, and I think this is down to the kind of really good side, really bad side, depending on how you look at it in terms of whether you're an investor or not. But I do think there is some truth in maybe what Rodney's talked about and Steve coming out. Equally, I don't think it's as clear cut as what's been on there. The whole sourcing it out, well, I would say that it has been sourced out, and I think it's been operated by Max's company, this Merchant Solutions, which I don't think is uncommon for anything like this. Clearly, Saitama LLC, Russ has got no idea in terms of developing apps, so it's going to have to be sourced out somewhere, and it's very unlikely that the board of people do it would all of a sudden do it. I think they've been brought together as a consortium of people to make sure it's happened. So I'm still bullish on Saitama long term. I'm interested to see how this develops. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the whole Steve Rocket Crypto. Do you think it's legit, or do you think it's maybe a bit of smoke and mirrors from Steve in terms of how to get out? But let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.